Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL games, look ahead to tonight's games in each sport. The Olympics begins tonight, so we'll go over the schedule for the Olympics. We'll talk about the announcement that was leaked the other day about Tom Brady retiring, and then the rest of the news and notes and best bet of the day. We'll start with college basketball, as we will recap the games from last night and look ahead to a very busy window for today. Virginia over Boston College 67-55. Creighton over number 17 UConn 59-55. Number 10 Kansas over number 20 Iowa State 70-61. Number 13 Michigan State over Maryland 65-63. Number 22 Tennessee over Texas A&M 90-80. Siena over Canisius 73-65. Richmond over Duquesne, 74-57. Davidson over St. Bonaventure, 81-76. Northern Illinois over Western Michigan, 75-56. Ohio over Ball State, 87-63. Toledo over Eastern Michigan, 86-66. Central Michigan over Bowling Green, 78-74. Kent State over Miami of Ohio, 78-65. Mississippi State over South Carolina, 78-64. Northwestern over Rutgers, 79-78 in overtime. North Carolina over Louisville, 90-83 in overtime. Seton Hall over Georgetown, 70-63. Number 1 Auburn over Alabama, 181. Number 14 Texas Tech over number 23 Texas, 77-64. Providence, number 15 Providence over St. John's, 86-82. Ole Miss upsets number 25 LSU, 76-72. Wichita State over Tulsa, 58-48. Utah State over Air Force, 73-46. Michigan over Nebraska, 85-79. Stanford over Cal, 57-50. UC Davis over UC Riverside, 65-60. UNLV over Nevada, 69-58. And Fresno State over San Jose State, 73-43. Now we look ahead to today's busy window. 3 o'clock on the SEC Network, Florida, Missouri. My projection is Florida by 7.5, total 136.2. Meanwhile, it is 6 and 136. Slight Florida. 6 o'clock, Chicago State, Abilene Christian. My projection is Abilene Christian by 24.5, total 140.45. Meanwhile, it's 18.5 and 138.5, laying the points. 6:30, Longwood, UNC Asheville. My projection is Asheville 7.5, total 141.2. Meanwhile, it's Longwood by 3, total 136.5. Wrong team's favorite. Give me Asheville plus the 3 and plus 114 on the money line. Charleston Southern and Radford. My projection for this game is Radford 11, total 135.55. Meanwhile, it is 8.5 and 134.5. I'm laying the points. 7 o'clock, Big 12 Network. Number 4, Purdue at Minnesota. My projection is Purdue by 13.5, total 144. Meanwhile, it is 10.5 and 139.5. This is a tough one, but I'm going to go with the over. SEC Network, Vandy at number 5, Kentucky. My projection is Kentucky 19.5, total 139.75. Meanwhile, it's 16 and 141. I'm going to lay the points with Kentucky. CBS Sports Network, Butler at number 21, Xavier. My projection is Xavier by 12, total 132.05. Meanwhile, it is 11.5 and 103.5. Slight over. Next up, American and Lafayette. My projection is Lafayette by 1, total 137.5. Meanwhile, it is 6.5 and 130.5. That's a tough one. I'm going to have to go with the over because of the edge being bigger. Army and Loyola, Maryland. My projection is Army 1.5, total 135 or 139.35. Meanwhile, it is can't find this line. Army and Loyola. All right, let's see. Hang on, guys. I apologize. Here we go. 4 and 138. Loyola by 4. total 138. I'm taking Army plus the 4 and whatever the outright money line is. Bucknell Colgate. My projection is Colgate by 13, total 145.85. Meanwhile, Bucknell Colgate. 15.5 and 146.5. I'm taking Bucknell plus the points. Temple, East Carolina. My projection is Temple by a half, total 137.6. Meanwhile, we have 1.5 and 134.5. Over. Navy, Lehigh. My projection is Navy 10.5, total 133.1. Meanwhile, it is 5.5 and 132.5. I'll lay the points. USC Upstate and Hampton. My projection is Hampton 5.5, total 135.9. Meanwhile, it is Upstate by 1.5, total 137.5. Wrong team favorite. Give me Hampton plus the 1.5 and plus 106 to win outright. Gardner Webb and High Point. My projection is High Point 12.5, total 135.5. And I definitely made the wrong line. It says Gardner 2.5, total 130.5. So, bear with me here. I apologize, guys. Gardner Webb 7.25, total 135.5. And it's 2.5 and 130.5. We'll go with the over. Campbell Presbyterian. My projection is Campbell by 10.5, total 131.4. Meanwhile, it is, let's see here. Campbell 2.5, total 122.5. I'll take the over. Notre Dame and Miami. My projection is Miami by 4, total 141.3. Meanwhile, it's 4 and 141.5. Slim under. Pitt Wake on ESPN2. My projection is Wake by 12.5, total 140.8. Well, it's 13 and 135.5. Over. Florida State Clemson on the ACC Network. My projection is Florida State by 9, total 141.3. No, Clemson's a 3.5-point favorite. Total is 137.5. I love Florida State getting the points. They're better than Clemson. Vegas knows my ass. Give me Florida State plus 3.5 and plus 138 to win outright. NJIT and Vermont. My projection is Vermont by 21, total 134.2. Meanwhile, it's 19.5 and 136. I'm going to go with the slight under. UMass Lowell, Maine. My projection is Lowell by 8, total 131.95. Meanwhile, it is 6.5 and 133.5. Slight under. UMBC Albany. My projection is UMBC by 2.5, total 135.55. Meanwhile, it's Albany 1.5, total 133.5. I'm taking UMBC plus the 1.5 and plus 105 to win outright. Hartford, New Hampshire. My projection is New Hampshire by 9.5, total 138.1. Meanwhile, it's 3.5 and 131.5. I'm going to lay the points in New Hampshire. Binghamton and Stony Brook. My projection is Stony Brook by 19, total 142.05. Meanwhile, Stony Brook is a 6.5-point favorite. Total is 141.5. I love Stony Brook minus the points. Drake, Indiana State. My projection for this game is Drake by 15.25, total 142.1. And we got here Drake as a 4-point favorite, total 143. I love Drake minus the 4. Love it. LaSalle, George Washington. My projections, George Washington by 1, total 137.6. Meanwhile, it's 1.5 and 137.5. So close. Slight LaSalle is going to be the podcast pick. St. Louis, George Mason. My projection for this game is St. Louis 6.5, total 140.9. Meanwhile, it's George Mason is a 1-point favorite, total 136.5. I know this is going to be Vegas knows. No. St. Louis +1 and +102 outright. I like a lot of dogs tonight. Rhode Island, Fordham. My projection is Rhode Island 10.5, total 134.7. Meanwhile, it's 4.5 and 126. I'm going to take the over. Although I do like Rhode Island too. East Tennessee State and Western Carolina. My projection is East Tennessee State by 9.25 to the 146.85. Meanwhile, it's 5.5 and 147.5. I like East Tennessee State minus the points. VMI and UNT Greensboro. My projection is Greensboro by 4.75, total 140.4. Meanwhile, it's 1.5 and 137.5. Tough one. I'm going to lay the points. Citadel, Furman. My projection is Furman by 16. And it's 15.5, total 151.5. I'll take the under. Arkansas, Georgia on ESPNU. My projection is Georgia as a 17-point underdog, total 146.9. Meanwhile, it's 10.5 and 151.5. I'm going to lay the points with Arkansas. Coppin State and Delaware State at 7:30. My projection is Coppin by 3.5, total 140.15. Meanwhile, it's 12.5 and 141.5. I'm taking Delaware State plus the points. 8 o'clock. Tulane at number 6, Houston. My projection is Houston by 19.75, total 138.65. Meanwhile, 17 and 133.5. I'm going to take the over. Lamar and Texas, Rio Grande Valley. My projection is RGV by 10.5, total 143.9. Meanwhile, 6.5 and 146.5. I'm going to lay the points. Bradley and Northern Iowa. My projection is Northern Iowa by 8.5, total 140.45. That's 4.5 and 138.5. I'm laying the points. Illinois State and Loyola Chicago. My projection is Loyola by 25.75, total 145.8. That's 14.5 and 140.5. I'll lay the points. Chattanooga, Samford. My projection is Chattanooga by 11.5, total 143.1. Meanwhile, it is 7.5 and 144.5. I'm going to lay a 7.5 with Chattanooga. Big game, 9 o'clock, Big Ten Network. Number 11, Wisconsin. Number 18, Illinois. It's the game of the night. My projection is Illinois 9, total 140.95. Meanwhile, 7 and 140. I'm laying the 7. ESPN 2, Syracuse, NC State. My projection is Syracuse 3.5, total 151.15. Meanwhile, it is NC State by 2, total 151.5. I'm going to take Syracuse plus the 2 and plus 110 outright. Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech on the ACC Network. My projection is Virginia Tech by 7.5, total 135.2. Meanwhile, it's 10.5 and 132. I'm going to take the over. Oklahoma State and Kansas State on ESPNU. My projection is a pick 'em in 133.2. Meanwhile, it's Kansas State 1.5, total 130.5. I'm taking the over. Missouri State and Southern Illinois. My projection is Missouri State by 3.25, total 134.45. Meanwhile, it's 2 and 129.5. Over. Dayton VCU on CBS Sports Network. My projection is VCU by 5, total 125.55. Meanwhile, it is 4.5 and 120. I'll like the over. And last but not least, 10 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, number 12, Villanova, number 24, Marquette. Second best game of the night in the Big East. Best game in the Big East, and I'd say the second best game behind Wisconsin, Illinois, overall. My projection is Villanova 12, total 137.5. Meanwhile, it is 4.5 and 132.5. I'm laying the 4.5 of Villanova. Marquette is deservingly ranked. They've been upsetting teams left and right. But Villanova is still the beast, if you ask me. So I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Villanova against Marquette. All right. Now I'll move on to the NBA, where we're going to recap the games from last night and look ahead to the games for tonight. Pelicans over the Pistons, 111-101. Pelicans are 19-32. Detroit 12-38. Bucks over the Wizards, 112-98. Bucks 32-21. Washington 23-27. Raptors over the Heat, 110-106. Toronto 26-23. Miami 32-20. Bulls over the Magic, 126-115. Chicago 32-18. Orlando 11-41. Timberwolves over the Nuggets, 130-115. Minnesota 26-25. Denver 28-22. Warriors over the Spurs, 124-120. And by the way, the Warriors sat everyone. They pulled the old school Spurs. And they still won. 39-13 on the year. San Antonio was 19-33. And the Suns over the Nets, 121-111. Phoenix 41-9. Brooklyn 29-21. Now I look ahead to the games for tonight. 7 o'clock, you have the Magic and the Pacers. My projections, Pacers by a half, total 216.6. Meanwhile, it is 4 and 223.5. I'm so mad that I don't have a larger edge on Orlando than I do on the total. But I still like the under. I think under's safer because the Magic are still really bad. Wizards 76ers. My projections Philly by 10 3/4, total 215.45. Meanwhile, it's 10 and 213.5. Slight over in this game. Slight over. 7:30 Hornets Celtics. My projection is Celtics by 6, total 220.85. Meanwhile, it's 5 and 227. I absolutely love the under in this game. And on ESPN tonight at 7:30, the Grizzlies at the Knicks from Madison Square Garden. My projection is Memphis by 1 1/4, total 212.65. Meanwhile, it's 4 and 220. I do think the Knicks are a potential upset candidate, but I like the under better in this game. In terms of who's calling the game, I don't know yet. If I had to guess, it's either going to be, I have a feeling Doris Burke's going to be at the Garden, but the question is Mike Breen or Ryan Rucco's on the West Coast. Ryan Rucco's probably doing that second game on ESPN. So you would think Mike Breen and then Kenny Albert on MSG. But we'll see. We'll find out tonight. Doesn't say. Cavaliers Rockets at 8 o'clock. My projection is Cleveland by 2 2/4, so 217.1. It's 5 and 220. Under. Although I think the Rockets can cover. This is gonna be the night of the dogs in the NBA, I think, potentially. Thunder Mavericks on 8:30. My projection is Dallas by 15 1/4 till 208.08 or 208.8. It's 12 and 209. I'm going to lay the 12 with Dallas. 10 o'clock ESPN Nuggets Jazz. I think this is going to be Ryan Rucco because he was doing the Nets on Yes last night, and Ian Eagle was doing it on TNT. So you would think that Ryan Rucco's calling this game, and he's on the West Coast. It's a good game, too. My projection is Denver by 1, total 218.95. Or this game would have been a little bit sexier if the Jazz guys are playing, but they're not. Meanwhile, it's Jazz 2.5 total, 223. Denver's another underdog. I like to win outright too, but again, the under. Nets Kings. My projection is Sacramento Nets by 2.25, so 223.05. Meanwhile, it's 4 and 233 under. Like unders in Nets games have been money without Kevin Durant. But I understand that the Nets don't play any defense. And 10:30 Trailblazers Lakers. My projection is the Lakers by 13.25 total 222.2. Meanwhile, it is 3.5 and 223. I'm laying the 3.5 with the Lakers. I absolutely love the Lakers tonight against Portland. All right, now to the NHL. We'll recap the games from last night, and we will look ahead to the games for tonight. Bruins over the Kraken 3-2. Bruins 26-14-3. Seattle 14-27-4. Lightning over the Sharks 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Victor Hedman. Tampa 30-10-6. San Jose 22-20-4. Maple Leafs over the Devils 7-1. Maple Leafs 29-10-3. New Jersey 15-25-5. Rangers over the Panthers 5-2. Rangers 30-13-4. Florida 32-10-5. Flyers over the Jets 3-1. The Flyers 15-22-8. Winnipeg 18-17-7. Capitals over the Penguins 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Dmitry Orlov. Washington 25-12-9. Pittsburgh 27-11-8. Isles over the Senators 4-1. Isles 16-6-6. Or 16-16-6, my bad. And Ottawa 14-22-4. Predators over the Canucks 4-2. Preds 28-14-4. Vancouver 20-20-6. Flames over the Stars 4-3. Flames 22-13-6. Dallas 23-18-2. Coyotes over the Avalanche 3-2 in a shootout. Coyotes 11-29-4. Colorado 32-8-4. So the Coyotes, as big as an underdog they were, actually won the game outright. Colorado should really be ashamed. And the Golden Knights over the Sabres 5-2. Golden Knights 27-16-3. And Buffalo 14-24-7. So Vegas covered the 2.5, and Arizona did in one outright. Now we look ahead to the last night of games before the All-Star break. 7 o'clock tonight, you have the Kraken and the Islanders. The Isles minus 178, Kraken plus 146, over under 5.5, overs even money, unders minus 122. Kraken plus 1.5 is minus 170, Islanders minus 1.5 is plus 138. I like the over. I think that Isles on the second of back-to-back could be a little vulnerable defensively. I can see the Kraken putting up some goals. TNT, Oilers, Capitals. Caps minus 118, Oilers minus 102, over under 6.5, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Oilers plus 1.5 is minus 250, Caps minus 1.5 is plus 198. I'm going to go with the Capitals money line minus 118. It's not big enough. I know they're on the second of a back-to-back, which might not help them, but I do like the pick. 7:30, Kings, Red Wings. Kings minus 140, Red Wings plus 116, over under 5.5, overs minus 114, unders minus 106. Kings minus 1.5 is plus 180, Detroit plus 1.5 is minus 225. Detroit has kind of fallen off a cliff a little bit lately after a promising start. But for this game, I'm going to go under 5.5 at minus 106. 9:30 TNT, Wild Blackhawks. So, because of TNT having a doubleheader tonight, it'll probably be Mark Jones on ESPN because Kenny Albert's doing hockey. But maybe Ed Cohen's going to do Knicks, which is possible on TV. Because I kind of have a feeling that Mike Breen's going to do this Memphis Knicks game tonight on ESPN. But I know he has the Knicks on national TV against the Lakers in Saturday primetime. Both those teams are 24-27. I know I'm getting off topic here. You would think that Kenny Albert's going to be on this one because Eddie Olczyk should be back. I don't know if he was in COVID protocol or what. Eddie Olczyk really hasn't been around in a while. Hopefully he's okay. But I would assume that they're on this game instead of Oilers Capitals because, I mean, you think the favoritism towards the Blackhawks, but Oilers Capitals is a better game, so they're probably on Oilers Capitals, and it's going to be. But then again, the Islanders are playing tonight, so that's another bit of a wild card here in terms of announcing. Like, is Brendan Burke going to be doing TNT or Islanders? So that's another, MSG wild card. Because you have Mike Breen, who might be doing basketball on ESPN, and Brendan Burke of the Islanders that might be doing hockey on TNT. And Kenny Albert of MSG might be doing is probably doing hockey on TNT. So 3 employees of MSG are going to be doing national games potentially tonight. So that's a little bit of a fun subplot there. But Wild minus 166, Chicago plus 138, over under 6.5, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Wild minus 1.5 is plus 146, Chicago plus 1.5 is minus 180. I'm going to go with the Wild in regulation at minus 110. I just think this is a game that the Wild should be able to win. And then Flames Coyotes. The Flames are minus 310. The Coyotes are plus 245. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 122. Unders even money. And Flames minus 1.5 and Coyotes plus 1.5 are each minus 110. I'm going to go Flames puck line minus 1.5 and plus 110 or minus 110. They're better than Arizona. They need this game badly because they are currently holding the second wild card with Dallas, San Jose, Edmonton, and Vancouver right behind them. So I think that Calgary's going to come out and put up a good performance. So give me the Flames minus 1.5 and plus 110. And in terms of who's calling the national games, it doesn't say for Grizz Knicks tonight or the Jazz and the Nugs. But hockey, they should be up. Yes, Oilers Capitals is Kenny Albert, Keith Jones, and Tariq El Bashir. And Wild Blackhawks is Brendan Burke, Darren Pang, and Jennifer Botrell. And now the question, I need to see. Hopefully Edzo's okay. But yeah, people in the 506 forums are still concerned about Edzo and his availability. But we'll save that for news and notes. Now we'll move on to the Olympics, which begins tonight. The Winter Olympics from China. It all begins tonight. 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock on USA Network. The Beijing Winter Olympics kicks off with early rounds of mixed doubles curling. Watch as pairs from the U.S. take on Australia and Italy. So that's going to be interesting. And then we'll obviously go over the results on the shows for the next couple of weeks. Tomorrow, what they're going to call day -1. So tonight's day -2. Day -1. Tomorrow night, NBC and Peacock, the 2018 Olympic team bronze medalist Nathan Chen is expected to make his Beijing debut as the figure skating team event commences. Day 0, the opening ceremony Friday night, 6:30 a.m. on NBC and Peacock. A full day of unprecedented coverage with a bunch of events. Day 1 is Saturday the 5th. The Men Moguls final featuring Canada's Mikkel Kingsbury. And then slopestyle Saturday night on NBC. as Jamie Anderson could become the first snowboarder to win 3 straight Olympic gold medals. And then Sunday the 6th, we have a couple events as well. So this is going to run up until the 20th, which is the closing ceremony. Will be Sunday the 20th, which is obviously going to be the day of the Daytona 500. So the Friday podcast for February 18th is going to be loaded because we're going to have the closing of the Olympics, Daytona 500, and the other NASCAR races we have to cover. And then the following, the Friday after that, the 25th, we have American Idol to preview and whatnot as well. So very busy within the next couple weeks despite all-star breaks coming in the NBA and the NHL. All right. On Saturday, Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington broke big news that Tom Brady was going to retire. And then his father came out and denied it. And now Tom Brady made it official yesterday that he's indeed retiring. The best quarterback to ever play this game. The greatest of all time. Hanging it up. And I think he's doing it at the right time. Because I think Brady looked at his peers and saw all of them deteriorate in front of our very own eyes. Peyton Manning, despite winning the Super Bowl with the Broncos in his last Broncos season. Eli Manning, his last couple Giant seasons. Especially after they traded away Odell Beckham Jr., then it was kind of obvious. Then also, or even with Odell, but I should say when Odell was injured, it looked kind of obvious at that point. And then Eli got benched for Geno Smith, and we all know what happened there. Phillip Rivers, he just wasn't the same guy in his last Chargers season and that Colts season. Ben Roethlisberger struggled all this past season and still carried the Steelers to the playoffs. Drew Brees in the 2020 season took the Saints to the postseason because of the team around them, but struggled. Tom Brady had signs of that in some of these games, especially where he wasn't having Mike Evans or Chris Godwin on the field at the same time, and Gronk, and then he had signs of it, but I don't think Brady wanted to deal with that like those other 5 quarterbacks did. And Brady, now the question is, what's next? He's probably just going to spend time with Giselle and whatnot. Like, is he going to be in broadcasting like the Mannings are? And Drew Brees? So we'll see. We'll see what Tom Brady's future holds. Maybe he's in the media, maybe he's not. And so I did a list. The top 10 Tom Brady career moments. Number 10, the Super Bowl against the Rams, the second one, which was his 6th Super Bowl. Which was Super Bowl 53. And it was just impressive to see somebody win 6 Super Bowls with the same team. And the reason why this makes the countdown is because he ties Michael Jordan for most championships by an athlete. And we always talk about Michael Jordan being the GOAT of basketball. Tom Brady's the GOAT of football. Whether you like it or not. It's him and Lawrence Taylor for me. The offense GOAT and then the defense GOAT. Number 9, the tuck rule. Which really was very infamous because this catapulted the Patriots to a run. So 1:50 left in the game. Eric Allen, while lurking at the Patriots sideline, heard Brady's talk with Weiss, and he heard the play call, Brady dropped back the pass with no open receivers while pumping the football. Brady was hit on the right side of Charles Woodson. And it became known as the tuck rule. And then the Patriots won in overtime on a field goal by Adam Vinatieri in the snow. And the game took place on January 19th in 2022. Or 2002. I can't believe I just said 2022. 2002. Which catapulted the Patriots to their first Super Bowl win in the Brady era. Number 8. The Super Bowl win against the Carolina Panthers, which was Super Bowl 38. Patriots won 32-29. And the Patriots were favored, but Carolina gave them one heck of a game. And Vinatieri kicked the field goal for the win with 4 seconds left to give the Patriots the Super Bowl win. And obviously, what was overshadowed with all this was the halftime show with Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson. We all know what happened there. And that obviously was the big deal coming out of the Super Bowl. But I'm now looking back. This was the second of 7 for Tom Brady. Number 7. The very next year, Super Bowl 39, the win over the Philadelphia Eagles, 24-21. Philadelphia gave them a game. And Philly scores with 1:48 left and made the game a little bit tighter. And the Patriots held on for the victory. And that was their third in 4 years. And it was the first sort of peak of the dynasty. Number 6, breaking the all-time wins record. That was really, really awesome to see when Tom Brady broke the wins record. And he broke that into his prime of his career. He broke it in 2016 in a win over the Rams in a regular season game. And that was obviously the season in which they won the Super Bowl over the Falcons, which we'll get to. Number 5, 700 touchdowns. He threw his 700th touchdown in an overtime win over the Buffalo Bills. And it was a memorable pass, which was a big win at the time. A 58-yard catch and run by Brashad Perryman. Number 4, the 2007 undefeated season. They went undefeated in 2007 and ran away with the NFL's MVP award, but ultimately lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl that year, which was Super Bowl 42. Number 3, the Buccaneers Super Bowl victory, which was a big deal for Tom Brady. And it was a bigger deal than many people are giving credit for. Super Bowl 55, the first team to win a Super Bowl in its home building. And, of course, it was Tom Brady that did it with a new team in the Buccaneers. Number 2, Tom Brady's first Super Bowl win, which was over Kurt Warner in the Rams 20-17. The Rams were 14-point favorites. And the Patriots won by 3. And they won as time expired on a 48-yard field goal by Adam Vinatieri for the win. And the Patriots had a 17-3 lead in this game. And then Kurt Warner led the Rams back, but Vinatieri kicked the field goal as time expires, and Tom Brady had 1:30 to drive them down the field for the win. So that's obviously very memorable. And number one, if you didn't have any doubt, the 28-3 comeback in Super Bowl 51 against the Atlanta Falcons. And the Patriots won by 6 in overtime on a game-winning touchdown by James White, 2 yards. And then the comeback began in the third quarter. James White, 5 yards from Brady. Extra point, no good. Steven Gostkowski, 33-yard field goal, makes it 28-12. Now it's in the fourth quarter. With 5:56 left in the fourth quarter, Patriots make it 28-20. Brady, 6-yard touchdown pass to Danny Amendola, and ran it in for the 2-point conversion by James White. And then they tie the game with 57 seconds left in regulation. 1-yard touchdown run by James White, and a Brady to Amendola pass for the 2-point conversion, which is good. And then in overtime, the 2-yard touchdown run by James White for the win. And Brady, of course, was the MVP of that game. And that game was at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. So that, for me, is the easy pick for the best moment in the legendary career of Tom Brady. All right, now we'll go over the rest of news and notes. There's some stuff I want to touch on. Saints offensive tackle Ryan Ramczyk recently underwent offseason knee surgery aimed at cleaning out the issues in his knee that he battled all year. And sources said the procedure was described as minor. So he should be fine. So there's a big deal that's going on right now. Brian Flores sued the NFL for alleged racial discrimination in head coaching hiring process. He sued the Giants, he sued the Broncos, and he sued his former team, the Miami Dolphins. And then Belichick had texts in the lawsuit, and he shows that Belichick mistakenly texted him about Giants' job being filled before his interview, which it wasn't. But the Giants' job was not filled before his interview. A lot of people thought that Brian DeBall was going to get the job, but they interviewed him again. They interviewed Leslie Frazier again. So, Brian DeBall, that job was not filled yet. So that was a mistake by Belichick. And then Flores says, I understand that I may be risking coaching the game I love. And then the NFL responds, we will defend against these claims which are without merit. So there's going to be more that comes out of this. And speaking of the Giants, the offensive coordinator finalists, the Texans is Pep Hamilton, the Chiefs Mike Kafka, and the Browns Chad O'Shea. I like Mike Kafka the best. He's from the Chiefs. He is the passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach for the Chiefs. So that's my pick, if I had to make a pick. And Pep Hamilton is the quarterbacks coach for the Texans and was the quarterbacks coach for the Chargers and Justin Herbert. And he was the offensive coordinator for the Andrew Luck Colts back from 2013 to 2015. And he followed Andrew Luck to the Colts because he was Stanford's offensive coordinator. And then the Browns, Chad O'Shea, was the offensive coordinator for the Dolphins in 2019, so he worked under Brian Flores. Wide receivers coach for the Patriots for a long time, from 2009 to 2018. And then he was the wide receivers coach with the Browns the last couple of seasons. So, yeah, I would go with Kafka if I'm the Giants. And Ken Dorsey was promoted from quarterbacks coach to offensive coordinator with the Bills. I'm sure Josh Allen's happy about that. Ben Simmons doesn't see a trade coming that he thinks Daryl Morey is attempting to wait out the situation to pursue James Harden this summer. Caleb Williams transferred from Oklahoma to USC, so he follows Lincoln Riley. Jeff Passan says MLB delay is inevitable. Little progress made in the meeting yesterday, and the on-time start of spring training is in grave danger. The World Juniors got moved to August because of COVID. That really doesn't surprise me. So the Kings rookie, Quentin Byfield, had an adorable run-in while a kid named Quentin last week. Now he's flying him out to LA. So that was really cool that Quentin Byfield found somebody with his name and now he's flying him out to Los Angeles. What a nice surprise for a little kid. The Connecticut Sun re-signed Jonquel Jones. So that's big for them. Mercedes Russell and Jewel Lloyd back to the Storm. Sylvia Fulls retiring after 2022. That's a big deal. Liz Cambridge sounds off on WNBA pay as she is not happy with the gap between coaches' salaries and players' supermax contracts. Bradley Beal out at least a week due to a wrist injury. Jeremy Grant back tonight after thumb surgery. LeBron can miss more games. He's expected to be out at least against the Blazers due to irritation in his left knee. So if that's the case, I would have to move that number to 7. Like 7.25, wherever I had it. Jim Harbaugh confident in the Vikings job as he's meeting with the Vikings today and is confident he'll get the job. And a Michigan recruit, apparently Jim Harbaugh said if an NFL opportunity came along, he was probably going to take it. Amani Bates is, there are some stories about him and how his future is up in the air, but he's not leaving Memphis. His father says there's no plans at all for him to leave Memphis, and as he's been dealing with back pain. Memphis is such a mess. What a freaking mess that program is. I think that's the most overrated program in college basketball. Penny Hardaway's been a complete failure as a head coach so far. We see all like Brady's former peers congratulating him, like Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, and all. He thanked the Patriot fans in a separate tweet than he did when he made his announcement retirement. The 49ers are working on a Jimmy Garoppolo trade. So you would think that Brady's former team, the Buccaneers, is going to be in play for him. And Adam Schefter kept Brady receipts as he liked tweets from this past weekend calling him out for his initial Brady retirement report. That's funny. That's the funniest thing I found out about. And I actually looked, and some of the tweets were actually hilarious. And some big news, the Washington football team finally has a name, the Commanders. I like it. I like the name a lot, the Washington Commanders. I like that. It kind of fits. So welcome aboard the Washington Commanders. Jalen Hurts having surgery on his ankle and should be fully recovered by the start of OTAs. The dunk contest lineup's out. Jalen Green, Obi Toppin, Cole Anthony, and Juan Toscano Anderson will compete. So Obi Toppin's back in it again, so that's pretty cool. And then the Rising Stars got announced. So we talked about maybe like a few weeks ago, the new format. And now we have the roster. The rookies, Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham, Ayo DeSamu, Krista Ray, Josh Giddey, Jalen Green, Herbert Jones, Davion Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Alperen Sengun, Jalen Suggs, and Franz Wagner. Sophomores, Precious Achiuwa, Cole Anthony, Desmond Bane, LaMelo Ball, Sadiq Bey, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey, Jaden McDaniels, Isaac Okoro, Isaiah Stewart, Jayshawn Tate. And then the G League Ignite. Marshawn Beacham, Dyson Daniels, Jaden Hardy, Scoot Henderson. So that's pretty cool. I think the Knicks guys got snubbed here. Emmanuel Quickley and even Obi Toppin, for that matter. At least Toppin's in the dunk contest. But I think Emmanuel Quickley got snubbed from this game. That's my take. And even Quentin Grimes, I think, could have made a case to be on this All-Star or Rising Stars team. Alrighty. Last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. Some interesting options. I thought about the Lakers, but I realized LeBron might not be playing. Indiana's down to 3.5 as a favorite against Orlando. I guess FanDuel heard me. But college basketball is where I'm going to go today. And I'm going to lay points with a favorite. And it's a conference I usually don't pick. But I really like the pick today. Stony Brook, -6.5. -118. I'm going to lay 1 unit on it against Binghamton. Best bet from yesterday was a winner with Mercer with the 4.5. So, I'm sorry, yesterday was a loser. I had the Denver, Minnesota under 230.5. That was a loser. 2 days ago was a winner. So 0-1 to start February. So let's hope that goes to 1-1 with Stony Brook minus the points against Binghamton. All right, so that's it for today's show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and looking ahead to tomorrow. And then obviously news and notes. We have another golf tournament to do. And best bet. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.